Alright, so last session, y'all, Faridah and Anima ran distraction while Vi and our new friend Meria broke into this dude's office to steal some information. And on the way back from very nearly getting arrested, because people were coming to investigate the sudden power outage from Faridah shorting out the chandelier, and just all of the chaos that surrounded that. On the way back, Meria discovered that there were plans by, I think it was Cynfriths, by him and some of the people that work for him to basically steal a bunch of medicine destined for a nearby Valna colony that is dealing with some kind of an outbreak. You didn't get a lot of details on that. Basically, everyone just immediately started planning on making sure that doesn't happen. So Spectra is going to be working on getting the orders so that the shipment will be destined to go on her ship instead of whoever else was originally going to carry it. Kai is currently watching it. Meria is taking care of things on the ship so that they can be ready to move pretty quickly if needed. And you all have returned to the house and went to bed for the night so you can make sure you get a good night's rest because you don't know when exactly you're going to have to move in the morning. As you all wake up, Vi, do you want to start doing your research in your room or do you want to kind of do it in the kitchen with everyone else there?
I'm probably gonna wait a minute, and if no one really wants to talk, I'll just head into my room and research.
This is at breakfast.
Oh, okay.
Or, wait, do you want to do some research before you go to bed?
Yeah, wasn't it only like 8 o'clock at night when we got back?
It's probably gonna be about like 9 or 10. Don't worry, I'm not giving you time to research, it's just since it's pretty late, probably need to make sure you get a good night's sleep, but also Spectra's going to make sure that you get up in enough time to start sort of preparing and figuring out what you need to know about players involved in this.
Okay, then I'd probably get up a little early and start researching then.
Okay. What are you going to research first?
Let's research Cyntrith first.
Okay. So you do in internet or ShadowNet?
Probably ShadowNet.
Didn't I decide the internet was called like LightNet or something?
I think we joked about it, but I don't know if that was decided.
I don't remember what it's called in the rule book.
I don't remember either. So I'm imagining you're gonna do some like base internet and also search the darknet.
I mean, here's the thing. If whatever is searched on the main, on like the normal net, is traceable. ShadowNet, we've already said, is not really.
Yeah.
So it would probably just be the ShadowNet.
Okay.
I highly doubt there's gonna be anything illegal in the normal one.
Yeah, I was about to say, on the normal one, we're just going to find out that he owns a bunch of bars. And he's a relatively successful businessman and all that blah blah blah. But when you search on this ShadowNet, you see that the whole bar scene is just a cover. It's a pretty good cover, because it also does bring in some income, but he's a drug dealer. He mostly deals in sort of the more recreational kind of stuff, but a lot of the stuff he deals in is illegal because it has very bad side effects. And when he gets the chance, he can deal in harder stuff. Also does a lot of blackmail. He's just not a good guy.
Okay. Does it say anything about antiques or other sort of smuggling or anything like that?
You do see some sides, like, with dealing with drugs, like, that's his main thing, and there's a lot of smuggling involved in that, but he's also dabbled in some other arenas and sometimes likes to rip off other smugglers.
Okay.
But it's mostly just like a sort of auxiliary middle finger, or look at what I can do. Drugs are his main thing. And while he's not particularly dangerous, still not a nice guy to have to deal with.
Okay.
Imagine, like, after it's been about, like, 15 or 20 minutes, because you all wake up pretty early normally. Actually, Faridah, Anima, is there anything you guys would like to do in the rooms you're staying in before you go to the kitchen for breakfast?
Not that I can really think of.
No.
Okay.
I think I'll add the, like fancy dress thing that I have to my bag. It's like it's contained in like a little tiny box about the size of like the power brick of a laptop.
Okay.
And that can kind of deploy into the fancy dress that she owns.
Like, in case you need a distraction for whatever's going on?
Yeah.
Part of why I'm been so excited about this is I can't wait to see how y'all handle this next thing.
I have no idea how it's going to go, so I'm just bringing everything I have and just hoping for the best.
Probably about 7:30, 8 o'clock. Y'all have had enough time to get your full rest and all of that, so, like, I don't know if y'all really spent it a lot, but
I used a bit.
I know you used some, so, like, everything has been recharged, and it's about, like, 7:30, 8 o'clock. Tali comes along, she knocks on each of y'all's doors, like, hey, it's time to wake up. We're having a meeting in the kitchen to talk about kind of what's going on here. Whenever you're ready to join us. She just does that to each of you. And then you can hear her prancing back to the kitchen. I'll want to just sort of start filing in.
Go into the kitchen.
He probably didn't wait to get invited, he just goes.
You'll maybe take a minute to sort of wake up, make sure you aren't in something that's really rumbly, and you get down to the kitchen. You see Spectra's... She's got a SIM unit and a tablet, and she's busy tapping back and forth and on something, and it looks like she's communicating with someone, but it's in a language you don't recognize. Well, actually, you may recognize a couple of the words and phrases, especially you, Vaelena, just because you recognize what Kesh sounds like, but it's not enough for you to really follow along with exactly what's going on. But Tali nods over. She's working on getting the shipment transferred over to our ship and getting all the permissions and so forth. It's not an official Alliance mission, but they're not questioning so far since we're technically not official Alliance. But it looks like the shipment, Ty's been keeping an eye on it. The shipment is being held at a pretty public docks. It's pretty well secured, but yeah, it's gonna be an interesting day. Also, breakfast is ready, and there's coffee.
So the shipment is on the planet right now. Is that correct?
Yes, it's being offered by a medical facility nearby. They just happen to have extra of something that they were able to combine together to make the medicine that the Valna needed. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's something that is used as kind of like a recreational thing for most people, and it really isn't great. But for the Valna, it's actually incredibly helpful with some of the diseases that kind of in outbreaks in their colony. And this colony has reached out for help from what I've been able to gather so far. And so the medicine is bound for them, and somehow the asshole found out, so we have to make sure he doesn't rob it. He sits down in front of a plate of food.
It just seems a little odd that instead of robbing it on the ground on the same planet as him when he'll have more resources, as opposed to waiting until it goes on a ship where he'd have to find some way to cloak himself and then block any transmissions, which, okay, yeah, he'd have to block transmissions anyway, but...
Oh no, he's planning on robbing it at the docks.
Oh, okay, I thought the information we got last night said it would be on the ship. Okay.
Well, I mean, it's supposed to be shipped out. Meria was able to kind of figure out that he was planning on swapping it out. We're still not entirely sure how he found out about this, because they usually try and keep this kind of stuff hush-hush, because like I said, it can be not great stuff if you're not out of Valna. but somehow was able to create something that he was going to swap it with and use some sort of distraction. It looks like he's only going to have a couple people there, but with last night he might have upped things a little bit. Maria's monitoring the communications right now. She's sending us updates.
Okay.
And Recon, I said Spectra was there when you got up. I forgot. She actually isn't there when you get up. Just Tali. And Tali's going to explain. Yeah, Spectra has joined Meria back at the ship to help monitor and coordinate things and start getting ready to move. They've hacked into some of his communication systems and are trying to keep an ear out just in case something else comes along. And they're working on finding ways for you guys to get unnoticed onto the dock so you can secure the package and deal with whatever ends up being there. So how are the rest of y'all feeling about this?
Curious to see how it goes.
So, do we not even want to let officials or anything know that we're going to be there? Like, when we get there, are we gonna have to try to get around any, like, security?
Oh, no, they know. It's just, with people like Cynfrith, you gotta be a little careful, especially with how time-sensitive this is, because we don't know if he has any kind of ears on the inside. So, the important people know that you're going to be there. I recommend not going full explosion flashy with whatever goes on down there, because that wouldn't go over well. But people do know, and I think probably once we get back on the ship, if they haven't already, Meria and Spectra are kind of sifting through all of his information and finding things to turn over to the Alliance to really ruin this dude's day. And we have about an hour or so before we should probably leave and work on getting the shipments. Spectra's been sending me updates. She holds up her tablet on how the transfer process is going. She wants to wait to finalize it until we're there and then get the ship there, and we'll see how this goes.
You said this guy was a drug dealer?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's a dick.
Easy to mess with.
We look forward to ruining this dude's day. I think Spectra knows him from way back. There was an incident when he didn't tell her what she was actually helping transport, and when she found out, she threw him through a wall. That's why she's no longer allowed in his store, in any of his establishments.
Nice.
He deserved that.
Oh, absolutely. I wasn't looking and I missed it. It makes me sad.
Do you know if he has any close buddies, like bodyguards or admin, that like to hang out nearby that are problematic?
Not as far as we can tell. Meria says there's probably only going to be 2 or 3 people there as guards because he doesn't want to make it super obvious, and some of his people are on watch lists because they're not always the most subtle.
Easiest way to give away that you're carrying something valuable is to show how much you're protecting it.
I bet too. We're estimating about 2 or 3 people there. When we get closer, Maria's probably gonna hack into the security feeds to help make sure we don't miss anyone. But hopefully we won't have to deal with any of them directly if we can just make sure the boxes get onto our ship. Everything all right there, Casey?
Hope you can't hear that. There's like gunshots or something?
Nope, I can't hear any of that.
Yeah, I don't think my mic can pick it up, but there was something going on outside, so...
That's concerning.
Yep. I was a little bit distracted, sorry.
Have any other questions you want to ask? I'm imagining y'all are just eating as you ask, because Kishara fixed a bunch of stuff, but then had to go into a meeting.
You mentioned a certain number of people. Do you think they're pretty clever people? Clever fellows? Or are they more muscle?
Hard to tell. Not sure what kind of people he's dealing with most of the time, at least planet side. It's like, he's not going to send complete idiots to do this. And I'm not sure how smart his people are gonna be. Because the dumber they are and the less they know, the less they can divulge if and when they get arrested. Like I said, he's a dick, but sometimes that works out in our favor.
The talents I have skills with are more effective on middle-of-the-road intelligence, rather than straight-up dumb as rocks.
He shouldn't be that dumb, because I imagine he really wants this. But they're not going to be the smartest, then... if I was him, I wouldn't let them know exactly what they're looking for until it was, time to move it, just in case something happens. But not the smartest. But he's been doing this for a while, so he'll be somewhat organized. It's just hopefully we'll be able to screw him over pretty easily. I mean, we've done this before. Not quite on this short of a timetable, but we've done this before. What about you, Anima? Have you ever stopped a robbery like this before, or how you feeling, or are you still doing all right?
I'm still wondering what that was. I'm so sorry.
She was asking, how do you feel about all this going on? And also just, you doing all right in general, because she remembers what else happened yesterday.
Circus?
The existential crisis, Anima finding out.
Oh, whatever. I'm good. Well, this guy is going to steal life-saving medicine to sell for a cheap high, and he deserves to be punished.
I knew I liked you when I first saw you.
It's my kind of black and white decision. No, he won't burn. We'll just stop him.
He's not gonna burn today. But if Maria got half of what I think she got off of his server, his life is gonna be hell soon. Especially when Spectra gets her hands on it.
Look forward to that.
Good.
But first things first is we need to get this medicine. So hang on, she's going to pull up a map and just realized I actually make a map of this. Was your DM smart? Is this map any good? I have no idea what the heck any of this is.
Not terrible, but Anima's definitely not a deep thinker.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this map and I'm I don't remember what any of what I put on here is. So
Cool.
yeah, we're just gonna theater of the mind this because that map is really bad. So she shows you the docks area and actually, hang on, sorry guys, I thought I had this finished.
Tali, does Cyntrith usually work by himself, or are there any potential allies of his we need to be worried about?
I mean, he's pretty small time. He sometimes does jobs with other people. As far as we've been able to tell, he's kind of on his own on this. It was one of those, he somehow was able to find out about this and was gonna jump for it. As far as we know, there's still more communications to dig through.
So, once we get off planet with the medicine, do you think there'll be any problems? Do you know if he has any connections to get a ship that could possibly track us or follow us?
That would be a long shot. Also, the Opal Star, it's pretty hard to follow, especially if he even had time to react fast enough. It's guaranteed he was not planning on immediately moving the medicine off planet. He was going to relocate it and then ship it off probably later in the day on some sort of commercial vessel. Yeah, the Opal Star is really hard to follow, and we're probably going to immediately start burning his entire network once we've gotten far enough away from the planet. So by the time we get to our destination, I think he's going to be basically, all of his accounts are going to be frozen, and he's going to be too busy trying to keep his life from falling apart and figuring out exactly what happened. He still doesn't know anything that was taken.
Is there anything stopping us from calling the cops on him?
Well, we'd have to explain how we got our information, don't we?
Yeah, that's a big deterrent.
Not really. We can just say that there's a really shifty guy over there that looks like he's moving some less than legal stuff around.
probably got summons with the local authorities. Did I mention he works in blackmail? Local cops' kids get in a little trouble with some of the stuff he sells, and boom, blackmail.
So does anybody have any proposals for how we're actually going to get in and get out?
So I sent you a picture of the docks. The big gray square is where is sort of like the loading bay for the ships. The little black squares, I think, they'd be kind of like sort of storage lockers for dock workers. The gray circle is sort of like an information terminal. Like if you need to check on information for something, it's like dock worker access only. In some of the white space, there's going to be sort of like packages scattered and lined up sort of closer to where the loading bay is. It's one of these days I will make an actually decent map. It's just today was apparently not that day.
You can use that thing that I used last time for the sewers.
Yeah, that's what I'm probably gonna do. I just the crazy week. So there's gonna be sort of like packages set up and ready to go, just in some of the white space, sort of on the left side near where the docking bay is. It's not gonna be too overcrowded, and Tali sort of shows you a better kind of layout, and she's pointing to which slip they're gonna pull the ship in when it's time to load up. Actually, she explains. We're actually going to load it into the shuttle just because it'd be a little tricky and a little obvious to just pull the Opal Star straight up. But she's going to have the ship close enough, it's literally going to take about 30 seconds to get from the shuttle to the ship. And about probably another 30-45 seconds to dock the shuttle, and then we can get out.
Are we going to be loading the medicine as well, or is it just sort of protect it, supervise it as it's being loaded, and then get in real quick and get out?
Yeah, it's going to be that second one.
Okay.
We'll be dock workers, and we can get one of us to load it while the others just kind of keep an eye out once the shuttle arrives. I don't know if he knows exactly, if whoever's going to be there knows exactly which of the packages it is, because they don't always mark it super obvious, and they're not going to make it really incredibly obvious which one has the medicine in it, but just the fact that he knows about it, there's a good chance he might know at least what the company that produced it and what their thing looks like. It's going to be under this, and she's going to show you a symbol, and it's two symbols side by side. One that she explains is the one for the hospital where the medicine came from, and the other is, it looks similar, but you wouldn't immediately mentally connect it to the hospital. And she explains that it's basically an auxiliary.
We'll say whenever she shows them, I'll just kind of reach into one of my pockets and pull out what looks like two kind of silvery coins with gold rims, and then I'll just put them on the palm of my hand and say, "Wake up!" And then the two drones will wake up, and they'll kind of come to look at me and be like look like they're asking a question. And I'll be like, "This is just so that y'all can know what this looks like. Keep track of this." I'll show the drones the images we're being shown so that they learn it as well.
I'll just look at you like, wait, when did you get those?
What was that?
They're adorable.
Yeah, they are. I call this one heads, and I call this one tails.
I gotta take a look at those once we get it back on the ship, because that is so cool.
Yeah, they're the pretty basic saurian ones. I just made them cute.
Hey, maybe we can work on getting them some upgrades or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be fun. And heads and tails cheer.
Oh, sorry, distracted by tech stuff. We're definitely gonna geek out about that later, but for now, stopping the heist. While kind of doing one of our own.
So, how many entrances are there? Is the dock one open area, or is it just sort of like slots?
It's an open area. There's slots where the transport ships and shuttles can dock into. It kind of helps limit the possibility of different packages and stuff getting put onto the wrong ship, because that's an issue. Once we get there, if it's not there already, we should probably work on moving the medicine so it's kind of inside the slot, so it'll be a little easier to block. We're just gonna kind of have to keep an eye out, because like I said, we can't be entirely sure if he has any idea that there's something going on, like how much he knows or is aware of the fact that someone was in his office.
I mean, he probably knows, since he sent... Weren't there more people coming in when we left?
Yeah, there were people coming in, but that could have been for the light. But Maria, and there's like a little thing on the tablet. Yeah, Maria's saying to be careful. There's some chatter of something happening last night. He's not being super specific, probably because it's a right issue, but...
It would look bad if people thought that he didn't have that very much security, so he's probably trying to keep it under wraps.
Yeah, and Bill may or may not have triggered a couple of his silent alarms, which might be how he knew someone was in his office. Just, it doesn't look like he knows that someone accessed that particular computer yet.
So, do you happen to know how many doorways and such there are to this room?
It's less of a room and more of kind of like sort of walled off slots that we can put the packages inside of. The rest of the docks is a pretty open area. It should be, I mean, I don't know, I haven't been to this docks in a while, but public access docks, there's usually quite a few people milling around. This time of day might not be as busy. Depending on who he has and how kind of on alert they are, we should... My hope is we're able to get the boxes moved without anyone noticing, any of his people particularly noticing. We'll just need to stay on guard and try and not antagonize them.
Okay. How are we gonna get our effects and the Belair out? We probably shouldn't have them with us while we're guarding the medicine.
Oh, no. Since Spectra and Meria are back at the ship, I's doing a quick run to come and collect the stuff once we leave.
Okay, so Ty's doing two things. He's watching the shipment right now and coming to get everything, all of our stuff.
Sorry, misread that. There's gonna be a little automated shuttle that we can load our stuff onto, and I think actually our Belair friend, he should be able to drive it on his own. Like, he's still got some updates, and we need to work on some upgrades to his suit to help with sort of functionality, because it's been a while. We can take care of that on the ship, so he'll be able to take care of piloting a simple shuttle back to the ship with all of our stuff on it. Anything that we don't want to take with us.
Okay, so have you updated him on what's going on?
Yeah, he's been looped into our communications. I think he's still sort of processing things a little bit, but I talked to him a little bit earlier this morning. He's still trying to process, like, kind of update and get used to being back to the way he is, but he understands what's going on, and he doesn't mind driving all of our stuff back to the ship while we work on this.
Okay. I just didn't want to sort of spring it on him.
Oh yeah, no. We talked about it for a little bit. He's very willing to help, and he's actually very excited to meet you all when we get back on the ship, now that he can, like, properly function and everything. And we probably don't have a lot more time before we need to move. Does anyone else have any pressing questions about things?
No, not really.
And you good too, Anima?
I guess so.
Sounds so sad that you get to possibly hit things.
Well, it is what Anima is good at. Casey is excited by the prospect of hitting things with her big, large tank person, but Anima is mostly confused about what's actually happening right now. We're gonna go get some medicine and maybe hit some bad guys.
We should probably assume that we are going to be fighting, as opposed to not.
Yeah, I mean, that's always a safe bet, but piece of advice, don't go into this like you're looking for a fight. Because if it's obvious that you're prepared for a fight, they'll definitely know what we're doing, and the longer we can kind of keep that not super obvious, the better.
Do you have any idea of where the actual medicine is, just for clarity's sake?
Tali would have told you sort of what slip number it's going to be, and she showed you the marking that is going to be on the boxes. It's not the official hospital's mark, but it's like a not super well-known auxiliary thing of the hospital. It's something that people wouldn't really look at.
Yeah, I meant a location on the map that you showed us.
I did not put a location on the map, but on the map Tali showed you, she would have showed you where it is.
Where's the blobfish?
Just to know, like, where location-wise we're trying to put ourselves. Be able to play the dumb ones, but still be nearby to what we need.
She has the blueprints as well as kind of an overhead picture of what it looks like. That's just going to be something general she grabbed off the internet, so she's going to kind of point out things. And the slip you're going to be in is sort of off here to the back where I moved the squares. Well, they don't jut out quite that far. It's probably about half that length where the walls extend. And she doesn't know exactly where the best is, but it's going to be near there, so it can be loaded, and you're just going to sort of move it over and make sure nothing or no one interferes as you load it onto the shuttle. You okay there, Casey?
Sounds like consternation.
There is yelling downstairs. Give me just a second.
Well, it's not picking up, but yeah, I feel it. So Tali's gonna kind of lay out, and she's giving pointers from other times. It's just it'll probably be best to kind of go in, figure out where the medicine is, and just kind of try and blend in, maybe sort of spread out, merge with other groups, kind of keep an eye on who seems to be overly watching us. A good chance that the dock workers have put the packages inside of the stall where the shuttle's going to be able to pick it up, but if we need to move it, we should be able to do that without too much issue. Just look like you're supposed to be there.
How big is this package going to be?
Not entirely sure. Like I said, it's a medical thing. Meria was talking about it, and Spectra was also talking about it. Like, it's not going to be too big for us to move. But they weren't able to give us strict details on that. Also, we should probably be packing up and leaving soon. Any last minute questions? Try and plan too much. Everything's going to go sideways, so...
Well, we know it's already going to go sideways. The idea is to get it to bend sideways to our direction.
Yeah, true. You're gonna fit in well here. Alright, let's go.
Alright.
You all load up into the little shuttle. Actually, I think it might be... No, what did we do with Maria's car after the last session? Did we just leave it?
Throw it into the river and abandoned it.
No, that's not what we did.
No, I think we brought it back to the house, but Spectra might have taken it with her when she went back to the Opal Star.
I seem to remember something about returning it somehow. I don't know how.
I don't have a clue what we did with it.
Let's just go with the Spectra took it with her, and as you're leaving, you see it's just like a very nondescript looking shuttle. It's kind of sitting there, and Tali's like, oh, they found us a ride. Awesome. And there will be another one in about 5 minutes for our Belair friend to pack up all of her stuff, and everyone has what they need, and come on, let's go stop a robbery. And she prances off and settles into the driver's seat of the shuttle.
Made sure to pack up my stuff so that it wasn't very difficult to move.
Yeah. I'm imagining y'all didn't bring a whole lot of stuff with you, because you were only there for 2, maybe 3 nights?
Also, I don't think that we had very much stuff in the first place. We probably could have taken everything that we owned off of the Opal Star, and it still wouldn't be a lot to carry.
Yeah. Pretty much most of the stuff you own is still back on the other side of the universe. Well, except for Anima.
Everything I own is with me, basically.
Yeah, I'm living that starving artist life. I barely own anything in the first place.
That is code for Anima doesn't own shit.
Vi, I think you're probably the one who lost the most stuff. But I also feel like you're probably nothing sentimental got left behind.
Also, did you just say Anima wears pantsuits? Because that is not correct.
Isn't that what you bought when you went clothes shopping?
I bought, like, button-down shirts, but I didn't buy fucking pantsuits. That's nonsense.
I couldn't remember.
I've gotten like slacks or something as well. I remember at one point you tried on a dress and you were very uncomfortable.
Yeah, no, not good.
So you might have bought like slacks or something.
After that detour, back to like on the shuttle, and it's a short drive, and Tali's actually no, Tali's not distracted. She's distracted by driving, but you can tell like she just every once in a while just kind of nod along to something, and you can like Spectra's talking to her through the earpiece.
Like a polo shirt. That's the word I was looking for. Sorry, I just thought of a thing. Anyway, please continue.
About a 15 to 20 minute drive. Tali is just kind of nodding along occasionally, responding to something. Just kind of like a, yeah, uh-huh. Okay, gotcha. That's good to know.
Note on the dress unit, which I don't think is going to get pulled out for this, is that it kind of comes in the way of like a shoulder holster. Does that make any sense? So like two straps on the shoulders and it meets in the back, and the back is where that box is. Just felt like I should drop that detail in while we're not quite doing anything yet.
It's one of those like she activates and then it makes it look like she's wearing a very fancy dress.
It's a little transformation, but yes.
I have a question more for the DM. So we were all given communicators when we first got onto the Opal Star. Is that what Spectra is using to communicate with just Tali?
Yeah, they've done this kind of thing before.
Yeah, it's just the feeling of being sort of left out of the loop is not something that sits overly well with Vi.
If she notices you kind of looking weird, Spectra's just giving me updates. They got their permission to take the transport. Apparently the original ship that was taking it was a little miffed, but somehow Meria was able to help them get a better transport gig. Something to do with her antiquity business. So they're fine with it. She's still working on hacking into the security. Double checked. It should be able to get in there without anyone noticing. They did not register the shipment immediately under the ship name. I think she's using a sort of a proxy name that I think one of her cousins uses, so it won't set off any alarms if the Dick is listening. Because we don't want Cynfriths to know exactly what's going on. It's not going to say Opal Star, but they know that we're going to be there. I should probably kind of try and stay in the back, though I don't think he'll recognize me immediately. But the less I stay and looking at the cameras, the better. Maria's working on helping with that. Yeah, she should be into the camera system in a little bit before we get there. She'll let us know if any people that immediately stick out. And apparently she's been working here for, really that long? Since it's gonna be kind of quick, even if he does recognize me, it should be fine. Okay, we're almost there, and oh, she's into the security feed. She's watching. Spectra's still working on communications. I think she's trying to see if we could get. She's working on getting us authorization to jump once we're far enough out of atmosphere, which is normally you can't jump that close to a planet that easily, but being closer to a crucible, it's a lot easier. So we can get closer to where the colony is going to be faster, just in case something is ready to react. There doesn't seem to be any chatter hinting that it is, but she's working on getting permissions for that.
As we're approaching, I want to see what these workers look like and see what their clothing looks like, see if I can identify people that are of higher rank.
So as you're approaching, you notice. Actually, roll me perception.
That is a nat 20 plus 2. 22.
You notice everything.
Are you having everyone roll perception?
I was having Faridah because she was looking, but Vi is also welcome to look as anyone who's kind of looking at the people and the cars and scoping things out as you pull into the docks.
Yeah, I would definitely be doing that. I rolled a 17.
Okay. Anima, you looking at anything?
Sure, let's try it. 8, I see nothing.
I mean, there's a lot of people. I'm not used to being around quite well. Actually, no, you went shopping, because it's pretty crowded, but not like stuffy crowded. There's just like a lot of people running around doing their business. Vi and Faridah, you see, there's a variety of different uniforms, and as you look, you see it looks like different business logos. Since this is more of a public docking area, there's a lot of companies that do work through here. You kind of recognize some that match some of the stuff around Ilvasar's house, as well as kind of what he was wearing when he drove you in, and you're able to put 2 and 2 together. This is where some of the company he works through will sometimes get some of their stuff in and out. Maybe less of the stuff for the ships and more of like basic business supplies kind of stuff. Just like a wide variety of things. You notice that the car you're in actually very closely resembles a lot of the cars that are around this area, and you figure it was chosen that way for a reason, to draw less attention to yourself. There's a variety of races here, so it's none of y'all are particularly going to stand out. Tali also explains that she's glad she has you guys there for this, because no one knows who y'all are. So they'll have no reason to be suspicious. You're just faces in a crowd.
See if I can focus on... So if this is a public docking area, then I'm assuming that there's some type of main kind of central government being represented here, that maybe they don't have necessarily materials moving through, but they operate as the guards or like the people that make sure everything else is working fine. And I'm going to see if I can pick out one of them who might be Promethean or something like that. Trying to find somebody that looks as close to me as possible. And I'm going to take note of their appearance and their clothing and make sure that I'm picking somebody of rank. Someone in charge.
Are you going to impersonate a government official?
I mean, if I have to. I'm just taking note of it. I'm not doing anything with it yet.
Faridah, is your disguise also Promethean?
That's what I'm trying to find.
With the earrings?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it should be.
Okay, so it makes you... Okay, so...
It's a very minimal disguise. It, like, changes my nose and my eyes, and that's almost it.
And, like, changes the skin tone a bit, changes the hair color. It's just enough small changes that if you didn't know who she was, you wouldn't recognize her. And as it is, like... Well, I mean, now that you've gotten used to it, your brain associates that face with Faridah, but before you had to keep reminding yourself that that's still Faridah. Yeah, so there are some people who kind of stick out in the crowd. They seem more of like kind of Port Authority type people. You don't see a lot of like very obvious Alliance logos here. You see some stuff that seems to be Alliance because they do have a logo. I just haven't decided what that logo looks like yet. Some guards, they don't seem to be Alliance either, but they have the same sort of Port Authority logo. And Port Authority, like, you see every once in a while one of the people wearing the uniforms of the different companies is stopped by a Port Authority person with a clipboard and just them off to the side and start going through stuff. It's just like kind of a lot of hustle. It's not too overly crowded, and you're able to spot someone who looks like he's the manager on duty, more or less, for the Port Authority. He seems to be the one that people are deferring to the most.
Make a point of not copying that one specifically. Highest in charge, too high. Middle of the road, middleman.
Oh, it's like it's the manager on duty. It's the shift supervisor.
It's good to know that if I see that person approaching me, I need to prop walk the other way, and or change my face real fast.
Okay.
They probably know what's up.
I mean, it's not like you're stealing anything. You're making sure stuff doesn't get stolen.
That's true, but we're not telling anybody that we're doing any of this. And it'll feel awful suspicious if someone's like, hey, you don't work here.
Are there any signs about not having any weapons with you? Or anything like that?
There's no obvious sign saying, oh, no weapons permitted. It's more of like a no fighting permitted, because they understand some of the stuff is going to be valuable, so there will be armed guards. It's more of like, it's okay if you have weapons as long as you're not like threatening anyone or hacking anyone, because
Like passive-aggressive signs like, you are being watched.
I mean, not quite that threateningly passive-aggressive, but yeah, stuff like that. And it mentions, like, the area is being monitored by insert port authority names here. Authority's name. I can words. Tali parks the car, and you all sort of file out, and she basically, while muttering to you, just like, yeah, just be cool, act like you belong here, and try and not pick a fight with anyone.
Nope, I got it.
I'm gonna go talk to very busy day at work, and I'm just momentarily every so often just kind of completely losing track of where I'm going.
That's me, except instead of busy day at work, it's one of those frickin' gunshots outside my house.
As you approach, you know which slip you're going through, and like I said, it's pretty crowded, so Tali starts kind of cautiously weaving her way through the crowd, going slow. And you can tell, like, she's heading towards the slip, and you hear a little thing in your communication device, and like she's kind of whispering to herself, but it's just not enough for you guys to hear it. I'm gonna get close enough to check on the medicine, also keep an eye out for things. I'll just maybe spread out a little bit, but we need to get to the slip. Been here out for comms, I'll let you guys know if there's any updates. So, what do y'all do?
I'm gonna try to keep relatively close to her, actually. To back her up if she needs anything.
Casually walking close enough to her, but without looking like you're following her.
Yeah, the opposite side of the room, and if she goes to another room, I'll hang a room back until there's enough space to follow.
Okay. And Vi and Anima, what are you doing as you're kind of working your way towards the slip, spell, whatever? I think I've used both words for it.
Is there any information that would be accessible on the little information kiosk, or is that only for employees?
The only way for Vi to know would be to check or to ask someone.
Okay, Vi would probably go up to that board and see what it says, or at least sort of pretend to look at it for a couple minutes.
What I would like to do is to go and watch that slip.
Are you gonna try and get close enough to where you can move if anyone moves on it? Interfere, or...
Yes.
Okay. Back to Vi. Vi, roll an investigation as you're sort of poking around on this terminal.
Okay. Investigation. Okay. Ooh, nat 20. +1, so 21.
You're able to figure out this terminal pretty quick, and as well as how to get the information into a form you recognize. It's just a lot of information about sort of incoming and outgoing ships, as well as like companies operating out of there. You gather that it is how employees and dock workers are able to keep up with when certain ships are going to arrive, so they can know when to load stuff on, and also there's stuff about the time and the weather and stuff like that.
Okay. Does it give an exact time of when the shuttle should come in?
It gives a rough ETA. The thing is, like, I don't know if... Actually, no, Tali would have told you. So when you look at that particular slip number, it has an ETA of about 5 minutes.
Okay.
But also, there's significantly less information on there. And given what you know about Tali and Spectra and just sort of how things like this work. Probably not sending updated information to it, so they don't want to necessarily broadcast when exactly the ship is going to be there, just in case. You're able to look, and there's some of the stall numbers where there's a lot of information next to it, and then there's some where there's not a lot, where there's less information. So it's, the detail of information is voluntary, but it's more of so dock workers and Port Authority can sort of keep track of when things need to be moved. Back to Faridah and Anima as you are moving nonchalantly to go kind of keep an eye on the stall. I would like y'all both to either deception or performance, whichever's best. Or stealth. You could argue for stealth, because you're trying to sort of blend in and not draw attention to yourself.
Gonna be given that old razzle-dazzle of performance. Wow, okay, this is a happy dice today. That's gonna be a 20 plus 4.
Crowd moves around you. Some people kind of give you the friendly nod like they've seen you before.
Absolutely take it in stride and act like I recognize them as well.
You are such a natural at blending in with this crowd that everyone who sees you just automatically assumes that you do belong there, and they probably know you.
Yep.
Anima, what'd you get?
So I can use stealth?
You can make an argument for stealth. That's trying to not draw attention to yourself.
It's either an 8 or a 9.
Oh gosh.
Depending on whether or not you want me to use performance, the other one, or stealth.
As you're trying to be subtle, there's a lot of people kind of giving you weird looks. Like, you're not used to working in this kind of environment. It's like there's a lot of people giving you weird looks. But to roll insight.
Oh, fuck. Okay. Oh, damn it!
Oh no.
It's a 17!
Okay.
I couldn't have not been one earlier! Sorry.
You notice all these people are giving you really weird looks. None of them seem overly concerned. It's a look you're kind of used to getting of, you're not from around here, are you? So you get the feeling they probably just think you're a really awkward new hire, or this is like your first time on whatever job it is you're doing. So you're getting some weird looks, but none of them seem particularly sort of wary when they notice you.
Cool. Okay.
And like I said, fair. You just have absolutely no problem, and you see how awkward Anima is trying to be sneaky.
It makes sense with the character I've created.
And so, at this point, you hear you get a brief message, and this time it's from Maria. Oh, glad to see you all could make it. It's wonderful to see you. Hope we're having a good hope I got a little southern there. I hope we're having a wonderful morning. I'm keeping an eye out. I've noticed a couple of local lowlifes. Don't seem particularly aware. It seems our dear friend Cynfriths has not informed them of exactly what they're going for. And with the way they're spread out, it's more like they're meant to be some sort of distraction or prevention if whoever's been sent to collect it gets caught. And, hang on, does she notice yet? I've got garbage dice rolls today. So, Vaelena, what are you doing?
After checking the board for a minute, okay, I have a question for the DM. Is the plan that we're pretending to be workers as well?
Since there wasn't a lot of time to prep, I imagine you've done jobs like this before.
Yeah.
The goal is to kind of get in, secure the package, because there's a lot of companies that send all kinds of people, and you also would have noticed there were some people not in particular uniforms who were working, and it looked like they were moving things, so there's all kinds of companies and organizations that do business out of these docks. So it's less of a pretend to be workers and just try and blend in, get the medicine on the shuttle without drawing attention from whoever Cynfriths sent. But it's one of those things where the plan is going to be malleable.
Okay.
Pick it up and hopefully don't get noticed.
Okay.
Yes.
I was just wondering because it's like what you do if you're pretending to be a customer and not draw attention is one thing, and then if you're pretending to be an employee, it's a different thing. So I would probably leave the terminal as she found it then. And let's see, are there any type of like pillars or walls or anything relatively near the stall?
So there are going to be a couple of pillars. They're not particularly large pillars because the docks, it's a covered area where all the cargo is, and then the slips sort of lead out to more of an open air. It's like one of those, if it's raining and people are having to do business so the cargo doesn't get wet. So there are some pillars. They're big and sturdy. You could sort of disappear behind one of them if you need to, and there's going to be some spaced out. What are you looking for?
Basically, my idea is we already said that Vi has a sort of decoy sim unit, so she'd sort of be pretending to be messing with it or messaging someone and like lean against a pillar that's relatively near the stall. Hopefully with the idea of being able to like be a lookout and see as much as possible without being obvious.
I'm going to say there is a pillar that's close enough. It's probably within about like 10 or 15 feet so you can see, but just like roll a performance as you're sort of trying to settle in to keep an eye out on things.
Okay. You sure I can't convince you to do stealth?
Or deception.
You could make an argument for deception, but since you're trying to convince people that you're just sort of playing on your phone, that is more performance than trying to just disappear.
Darn. Okay, then I only got 12.
Okay.
No, stealth would have been much better, but it's fine. It's fine.
I mean, there's some people who kind of raise an eyebrow at you. I get this. Might hear a comment or two about texting people on the job.
It's not that she's like trying to mime that she's like playing on her phone. It's more like checking emails or messaging someone, like having conversation, like she's waiting for a shipment or something. But yeah, I get that it wouldn't be completely believable with my role.
Thank you for joining us, and stay tuned next time to find out what happens on board the Opal Star. If you don't want to wait, you can get early access to our episodes over at patreon.com/pseudonymsocial. If you like our show, please consider leaving us a review on your favorite podcasting app so people can know where to find us. We couldn't do this without your help. Aboard the Opal Star is a production of Pseudonym Social, changing reality one story at a time. It is DM'd and produced by me, Brianna Toiber.
I'm Casey, and I'm playing Anima the Ashenforged.
Victor, and I'm playing Faridah the Promethean.
My name is Alexis, and I am playing Vaelena Sorrel, the Eldori.
With music by Patrick Chester of Chester Studios. To get more information on this or any of our other shows, check out our website at pseudonymsocial.wordpress.com.